We're joined by the Renaud brothers, Arkansas filmmakers.
Brent, let's go. Okay. Oh, let's get out of here.
When Brent told me that he wanted to be a documentary filmmaker, I followed my older brother to the most dangerous places in the world.
They're locking in on us.
We've just got some breaking news. Brent Renaud, an American photojournalist, has been killed.
Brent lost his life documenting the horrors of the battlefield in Ukraine.
The work that he was doing, the bravery with which he did it.
My name is Brent Renaud. This is my brother Craig. Besides my brother, I struggle to make friends. Autism tells you very little about a person. I can be calm as a Zen monk in a disaster zone.
Soldiers over there.
But the cocktail party in Brooklyn was absolutely terrifying.
Brent was very intense and quiet.
You put the camera down? Yep.
He filmed on the front line of conflicts all around the world. But what he cared about the most were the people caught in the middle.
Describe what you see.
What is your name?
My name is Brent.
The way you hold that camera, you're doing it from your heart.
We are living in a time when it can be hard to hope. Each day we wake up to some new assault on our democratic institutions. Another setback to the idea of the rule of law. An offense to common decency. Every day you wake up to things you just didn't think were possible. Each day we're told by those in high office to fear each other and to turn on each other, and that some Americans count more than others, and that some don't even count at all. Everywhere we see greed and bigotry being celebrated, and bullying and mockery masquerading as strength. We see science and expertise denigrated, while ignorance and dishonesty and cruelty and corruption are reaping untold rewards. Every single day we see that. And it's hard to hope in those moments. So it may be tempting to get discouraged, to give in to cynicism. It may be tempting for some to compromise with power and grab what you can, or even for good people to maybe just put your head down and wait for the storm to pass. But this man, Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson, inspires us to take a harder path. His voice calls on each of us to be heralds of change, to be messengers of hope, to step forward and say, send me. Wherever we have a chance to make an impact, whether it's in our school, or our workplaces, or our neighborhoods, or our cities. Not for fame, not for glory, or because success is guaranteed, but because it gives our life purpose. Because it aligns with what our faith tells us God demands. And because if we don't step up, no one else will. How fortunate we were that Jesse Jackson answered that call. What a great debt we owe to him. May God bless Reverend Jackson. May he rest in eternal peace.
Today marks 4 years since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and in that time we have seen initial Ukrainian battlefield victories turn into a long, grueling war of attrition. Many expect this year to be a turning point. Negotiations brokered by the United States are said to be making progress in some areas, but the issue of territorial concessions, that is, what will happen to the Donbass, what will happen to the nuclear power plant in Zaporizhia, those remain to be sticking points. In the meantime, Russia is making slow and steady gains across the Ukrainian front line at a tremendous cost. Some put losses at 1,000 men a day. This war has also seen a complete revolution in terms of modern warfare, with drone-dominated battlefields that make it extremely deadly to even rotate troops in and out of position. In the meantime, Ukraine and Russia are both striking targets deep inside territory beyond the front line. Russia recently ramped up attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure this year, plunging much of the country into darkness at the height of winter. These continue as Ukrainians say they are ready for peace. However, they would like that peace to be just.
لكن تضغطي وما تحاولي ما تنزفيش، يعني حاولي انك تسكري الجرم.
تمام، السيارة جاية.
الو، طوارئ الهلال الاحمر رام الله الضفه الغربيه، عمر معك، تفضل. الو. شو اسمك انت؟
أنا نجد حمادة. كنا تم أمامك فيني. ماما غيرت حالي.
مهدي، احتمال احتاج سيارة إسعاف.
عمر حبيبي، احنا مجبورين نأمن له مسلة كامل.
إذا ما فيش معها وقت.
شايف هدول يا شاب؟ خسرناهم كلهم. 8 دقايق متكلفون حياتهم إذا ما عملناش التنسيق وعمارة.
They are shooting at a car with a little girl inside. Can you imagine that? So do something. انت في التمهيدي؟ هند، انا جايين ناخدك احنا.
كل ده مأمنتك فيني. أنا بكون موجودة عشان
بس لسه في فضا، لسه معنا وقت.
We can't show you where we are or who lives behind this door because the family in this apartment in California is on the run from immigration and customs enforcement.
Since my mom's status here isn't safe, then we had to just pack everything up. Everything else just gets left behind.
Off the grid since last year, say these two girls, both citizens born in the U.S., both in high school. ICE deported their father for illegally crossing the border. Their mother overstayed a tourist visa and is also undocumented. The girls feared their mother was next.
What's happened since then, when you had to pack up and leave?
We became homeless for 5 months. We moved schools, we went somewhere else because we had to leave the city. We were sleeping from house to house, anywhere we could find.
Then they heard about an interfaith network of religious groups pledging to resist Trump's immigration policy by hiding them in safe houses, even in spare rooms of congregates' homes. The network estimates dozens are being hidden at any one time. It connected the family to this Jewish woman.
I grew up in a time when the Holocaust was not so far behind me.
She signed for the apartment, a cover for the family she's protecting.
Do you hear the echoes of history here? 100%. I think there's a strong feeling in the Jewish community we cannot let this happen. It's our responsibility. What was done to us cannot happen to other people.
This is technically aiding and abetting somebody who is here undocumented.
I don't see it that way. I see it as taking a step to help someone who is in need, to help a family in need of support.
Me sentí muy tranquila. It's just a big sigh of relief, says the girl's mother. What happens to me doesn't matter. Everything I'm doing here is for my girls.
How would you describe the fear that you carry?
I put a smile on my face every day. But deep down, I'm hurt. And I'm still hurting.
I want to say a couple of things.
Reverend Zach Hoover leads the Interfaith Network. 2,000 congregations of various faiths have been trained across the country, the great majority here in California, where Reverend Hoover says the network of sanctuary and safe houses remains most active.
The federal government might listen to all of this and say, you're violating the law.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie, that makes me very nervous. And there's a part of me that, sitting here talking to you, I think, gosh, should I be having this conversation? But the truth is our folks are facing a much greater fear every day. As we sit here in this church, I am just reminded the God that I worship and that guides my life is one who does not always bless every human law. I am convicted that we are doing exactly what we should be doing.
The girls have both been accepted to separate colleges in the fall, a family united for as long as they can be.
We're going to do everything in our power to try to convince members of Congress not to support a deportation machine that's ripping families apart. And there's a part of me that thinks that a different way is possible. But most of the time I'm preparing for this to get worse.
In a statement to CNN, ICE says, quote, knowingly harboring an alien is a federal crime. The statement continues current ICE policy directs agency personnel to avoid conducting enforcement activities at sensitive locations. This includes places of worship. DOJ guidelines do say that harboring is punishable up to 5 years in prison. But Aaron, we're talking about a very nuanced situation here. We're talking about clergy, congregants, and homes that need a warrant in order to enter.
It was like trio, then 4 people. Sergey, 6, 7, 8. Just full-blown orchestra of immigrants. All this trauma of immigration. You're constantly trying to heal that. Some people go out and rediscover their roots. But sometimes roots just come and get you.
На Чернобыльской атомной электростанции произошла авария.
My youth, it was fractured. Gorbachev opened the doors and we just packed up and we were living for unknown duration of time. And being 16 and having a band and understanding that all of that is just gonna like dissolve. Since the combat began, there's no way of sitting around and being a spectator of the news. That's not an option. If you're Ukrainian, you're connected on a cellular level. I'm fucking grateful that we can do what we can do.
You have your wanton sex, alcoholic binges, the usual. Yeah, the usual, right?
They said that I was born in anti-Soviet spirits. Fuck yes, I was. The idea that music is the weapon is pretty serious dynamite.
Days
Before President Trump took office last year, an investment firm tied to the United Arab Emirates secretly signed a $500 million deal with the Trump family's crypto venture. According to the Wall Street Journal, which reviewed the company documents and spoke to people familiar with the matter, an Abu Dhabi royal known as the Spy Sheikh backed the investment. Trump and his administration met personally with that sheikh about the crypto deal multiple times. Then back in May, a few months later, a new chip deal was announced with the UAE, ending a Biden-era embargo. Joining us, head of King's College, Cambridge, and columnist for the Financial Times, Gillian Tett. Peter Baker, still with us. Gillian, does this raise any red flags for you?
Well, it certainly raised a lot of red flags. And it's very interesting that even after a year, when a lot of insider dealing and soft corruption has become almost normalized within the administration in ways we haven't seen before, this story still has the ability to shock quite a lot.
Americans don't think this is an ethical White House. They didn't in the beginning, but now even less so. And the drop, the 8-point drop in whether this White House is ethical or not, down to 21%, is fueled by Republicans. So I guess the question, Peter, is if this was known when Donald Trump took office, that he wasn't ethical, but it's now down to an abysmally low number. Electorally, does this start to matter?
Well, that's an interesting point, right? I mean, you're right about that poll. And it was fascinating to me to see the number on Republicans specifically. The number of Republicans who said that they think Donald Trump is acting ethically is 42%. In other words, most Republicans aren't willing to say that the president of their party is an ethical president. That's stunning, right? I don't think we've seen that before. And I think that you're right. It is an area where it has begun to, I think, penetrate the electorate that this is an administration, this is a White House, this is a family around the president that is monetizing it like no other presidential family has ever before. As much as they complained about Hunter Biden, as you said, it's peanuts compared to what we're talking about here in terms of the amounts of money at stake and money that goes directly into the president's own pocket as well as that of his family. And I think that we just never see anything like it. And what Trump has said is, well, I had all these guardrails in the first term and nobody ever gave me credit for it. So therefore, I'm not going to bother with guardrails this time. And he's challenging the system to say, OK, I'm going to do this. And it's up to you to decide whether or not you're going to do anything about it. And that's going to be the question. Do voters react to this in a way that they say this is not acceptable or not?
Seven extraordinary tribe abilities that outsiders can't even imagine. Number 7, the Bana tribe. In Ethiopia's Omo Valley, the Bana people are admired for balancing high on tall wooden poles. It serves both cultural and practical purposes. The practice is tied to ceremonies where young men prove courage, agility, and readiness for adulthood. Beyond tradition, balancing helps them cross marshy land, avoid snakes, and even gain a vantage point to watch for wildlife or herds, turning survival into graceful art. Number 6, the Vadoma people. In the remote forests of Zimbabwe lives the Vadoma tribe, recognized for a rare genetic trait that gives many only 2 toes on each foot, resembling the foot of an ostrich. This condition, called ectrodactyly, has been passed down for generations and is embraced rather than hidden. Far from being a limitation, their unique feet provide surprising advantages. The 2 broad toes allow them to grip and climb trees with speed, balance easily on uneven ground, and move quietly through dense forest. Number 5, the Bajau people. The Bajau of Southeast Asia are often called sea nomads, and for good reason. They spend their lives on the water, diving to depths most outsiders can't imagine. Many can hold their breath for more than 13 minutes, thanks to unusually large spleens that store oxygen. Children learn to swim before walking, and adults dive as deep as 70 meters without equipment. They gather fish, shellfish, sea cucumbers, and even pearls, using skills passed down for generations. Science even shows their DNA has adapted to this aquatic lifestyle. Number 4, the Inuit people. The Inuit of the Arctic have adapted to one of Earth's harshest environments, where winter temperatures can drop to nearly minus 50 degrees Celsius. They can read the tiniest cracks in frozen surfaces to judge safety, and their igloos are built with clever designs that trap warmth. Their diet of seal, fish, and whale fat provides vital energy to withstand cold that ordinary people could not survive for even a single day. Their survival proves that humans can adapt and even thrive in nature's most unforgiving places. Number 3. The Tarahumara people. In the canyons of northern Mexico, the Tarahumara are celebrated as the world's greatest runners. They can cover more than 200 miles in a single run without rest. Barefoot or in simple sandals, they glide over rocky paths with a technique that conserves energy and prevents injury. Scientists say their ability comes from strong cardiovascular health, efficient muscle use, and a running style that avoids strain. Number 2. The Sherpas. High in the Himalayas, the Sherpa people have unique adaptations that allow them to thrive where oxygen levels are very low. Living above 4,000 meters, their bodies naturally use oxygen more efficiently, making them unmatched mountain climbers. Sherpas can carry loads heavier than their own body weight while scaling icy slopes where others struggle to breathe. Scientists have found that they possess higher levels of hemoglobin and unique genetics. Number 1. The Maasai tribe. The Maasai of East Africa have an iconic tradition called the Adumu, or jumping dance. During ceremonies, young warriors stand in a circle and take turns leaping straight upward, often reaching heights of nearly 3 feet without bending their knees. For the Maasai, however, it is a natural expression of their strength, stamina, and cultural pride. The higher a warrior jumps, the greater his honor, especially among brides, making each leap a proud symbol of vitality and tradition.
Finally tonight, a story from PBS News Student Reporting Labs, our high school journalism training program. They take us to a family farm in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, outside Washington, D.C., to meet Cameron Oglesby, who explains how her family's struggle to hold on to its land inspired her to want to tell stories of environmental justice.
We're coming up on our centennial year. Our farm is turning 100 in March. This is what it's all about. I have received so much of my own familial history just in sitting down to conversations, learning from my Nana.
Look at me, ready.
Oh, you don't know when this was?
Yeah, we picketed in Baltimore and downtown D.C. and at the Capitol.
I remember when I was a kid and my Nana would be going out in the garden or she would be using her own vegetables to make things. I was just absolutely obsessed with everything she was doing out here.
They were full of berries.
Land is wealth in this country, and I have seen that right stripped away from so many people for no other factor than they are a descendant of enslaved peoples or that they are indigenous. Some of the challenges the farm has dealt with include my great-great-grandfather had to sell off portions of the land just to maintain it. In more recent years, my uncle and my Nana have contended with someone trying to build a prison next door, trying to set up facilities that would generally reduce our quality of life. We've been very fortunate that every attempt to do that has been thwarted in a way that allows us to continue to use the property as we would like to, and as we are entitled to. I think that's sort of the connection that helps me bring a different perspective to the work that I do. As an oral historian, I can point back to my own people and say, I know exactly what you are going through, and I want to help you protect this for yourselves. We are archiving something that people's children and their descendants can go back to forever. The Environmental Justice Oral History Project is a repository that I founded to tell a comprehensive, resilience-based, joy-based story of environmental justice communities in the U.S. South. It's really critical that we understand the power of storytelling to get people riled up and to make people cry and to give people joy and to really bring out the emotions that undergird all movement work. The fact that we have this untouched property here, I can't even put into words what it means and how unheard of it feels. I need to protect this place. I need to invest in this place. This place needs to persist. It is a symbol that is the most fundamental right. Land is wealth in this country. That's that generational wealth, man. It's really solidified for me how important it is for me to be picking up this torch and keeping that work going.
On March 8th, the sky above Tehran, a city of nearly 10 million people, was swallowed by a toxic black monster. Overnight strikes on major fuel depots including Agdassia, Shahran and Karaj did more than destroy infrastructure. They unleashed an environmental catastrophe. Fires burned for hours, releasing a suffocating shroud of pollutants that turned the morning rain black, falling dozens of miles away. As one resident, a 27-year-old teacher, told Time magazine, the air was simply unbreathable. But before we move ahead, please have a look at the other stories from this week. Global oil prices surged past $114 per barrel on March 9th, the highest level since 2022. This surge, driven by the Iran-Israel-US war, is drawing comparisons with the oil supply disruptions of the 1970s and 80s. On March 5th, a Delhi Transport Corporation electric bus caught fire, raising safety concerns about electric public transport and underscoring the need for stronger maintenance, monitoring, and emergency response protocols. On March 5th, India's Environment Ministry proposed amendments to the Environment Impact Assessment Framework, raising concerns by environmental experts. To know more about these stories, visit our website downtoearth.org.in and subscribe to our YouTube channel Down to Earth. The incineration of vast fuel reserves released huge quantities of toxic residues, including high concentrations of hydrocarbons, sulfur and nitrogen oxides. Experts note the resulting black rain is much worse than traditional acid rain. It contains the precursors for sulfuric and nitric acid alongside highly dangerous pollutants like ultrafine PM2.5 particles and carcinogenic polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. Once inhaled, PM2.5 particles can enter the bloodstream, linking exposure to long-term risks including cancers, neurological conditions, and cardiovascular problems. The human cost is immediate and devastating. The Iranian Red Crescent Society warned the rainfall was highly dangerous and acidic, posing risks of chemical burns of the skin and serious damage to the lungs. Ali Jafarian, Iran's deputy health minister, confirmed to Al Jazeera that the toxic air poses a life-threatening risk to the elderly and young children, while the acid rain is already contaminating the soil and water supply. Sheena Ansari, who is the vice president of Iran and head of Iran's Department of Environment, said, "The systematic destruction of the oil depots is a blatant act of ecocide. The environment remains the silent victim of the war." This campaign against civilian industrial infrastructure is the most significant of the conflict so far. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghai stated, "The aggressors are poisoning civilians, devastating the environment, and endangering lives on a massive scale." With over 1,255 civilians killed in the broader conflict since February 28, the environmental attack is viewed by analysts as a desperate act of total warfare, aiming to paralyze the nation from the inside. From the oil fires of the 1991 Gulf War to the Qayyara fields in Iraq, history shows that the targeting of energy infrastructure leaves a toxic long-term legacy for the people and the land.
Mardi Gras may be over, but last weekend brought another vibrant celebration to the streets of New Orleans. Super Sunday is a day when African-American revelers known as Mardi Gras Indians parade through town in their eye-popping handmade suits. It is a living theater of art and culture. A competition of style and dress that compares the craftsmanship of neighbors from one community to another. Elite groups calling themselves the Mardi Gras Indians. Chief Howard Miller leads the Creole Wild West. Chief Daryl Montana, the Yellow Pocahontas Hunters, two tribes of more than 40.
It hasn't come out.
We gathered in Congo Square, for centuries a meeting ground for African Americans who practice their traditions.
You can't like it, you gotta love it until the day you die.
This carnival of color showcases suits designed, feathered, and beaded over 9 months. But it's also a folkloric moment of storytelling. The tradition of gratitude dates back to the mid-19th century, when runaway slaves found refuge with Native American tribes who themselves suffered persecution.
That's like saying, thank you for helping us. And it's done with pride.
Dr. Maurice Martinez has chronicled that history for more than 50 years in both his book and documentary, Black Indians of New Orleans.
Carnival by itself, the meaning of Carnival Day, topsy-turvy day. Anyone could be anything. They wanted to maintain their dignity as human beings. I'm a man. I'm the big chief. I won't bow down on that dirty ground.
In the days of segregation and even after, masking allowed an ability to walk with pride when many New Orleanians faced the humiliation of racism.
Did you ever expect to be in here?
No, I never. My wildest dream, I never.
This Mardi Gras season, Mardi Gras Indian culture was on full display at the historic New Orleans collection.
We had to portray the Native American to be ourselves, because here in the South, everything about African was forbidden. Couldn't talk about it.
Throughout its exhibit, Making Mardi Gras, the museum hoped to rectify decades of discrimination and neglect.
For the young people, young black kids, African Americans, they are role models for us. It's something that is revered. It's something that allows one to feel a sense of worth, sense of freedom.
The spirit chooses us. Once you take part in the culture, and the spirit grabs certain ones and won't let them go.
I'm gonna say this, that many are called, but few are chosen. And I believe that we were the chosen ones.
First, a big shout out to Sierra Morris, who produced this piece, and Laura Pichazza, who edited it. You know, this tradition has been going on for well over 100 years. They are now getting the recognition they deserve, and their suits are all over the world. They did not, I mean, it takes a lot of money to put these suits together. The New Orleans Historic Collection is also teaching classes with Chief Howard Miller, leading those classes so that he can pass it on to the next generation. So a lot of really great things are coming out of it now.